Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare, actual. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about resolving inner conflict because this seems to be a fundamental issue that I have been encountering, especially over the last 5 years, because I've been in contact with a lot of men who are really in the most desperate of life situations. I'm talking about incarceration. I'm talking about serious addiction. I'm talking about a lifelong pattern of self-abusive behavior that has been indoctrinated and enforced upon them. And all I'm seeing, all we get to see, is the reflected outcome of these very serious, traumatic internal causes. And I believe that if a human being can get these things straight within their own mind, bring them into alignment, that they can have a decent life. And I see so many people suffering, lacking, these qualities, these insights, and their lives become not their own. They become enslaved to their compulsions, to their ideology, to their ideas, such that they destroy the person within themselves intentionally in life. And perhaps when that job is completed, the body merely passes away. This is the idea, is being a nice guy killing you? Is being the good man that society expects of you killing you? So let's get into it. It's an important subject. But first, let me say thank you to everybody who's been stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, even donating, especially donating. It's through your support that I'm able to move forward. I'm very happy today, as happy as I have been in close to 5 years. And I believe that you like that? Believe that you could even hear it in my voice. And take a guess why I'm so happy. Okay. It's because you can hear it in my voice. Through your support, I've finally gotten, into a situation with certain equipment that at least is the bare minimum acceptable. So very happy. Thank you for all your support. Please click on the CashApp donation link in the description below. Now, I believe, getting into the subject here, okay, I believe that I have 3 personalities at least within me. And the first one, which developed over time, actually, no, the first one, which I was essentially born with, and I believe we all are, is my authentic true self. It is my body. It is how I feel. When someone says to me, "Those are stupid shoes," how do I feel, right? Imagine an airplane pilot, flying over, across the ocean, and somebody, co-pilot, stewardess, looks at his shoes and says, "Those are ugly shoes," right? His emotional state could potentially come crashing, like, who are they? That's embarrassing. I don't like their shoes, right? And if his emotional state dictated how he flew the plane, or she, the plane would just come crashing right down at that point, okay? So this is the true self, the true authentic self. You can't, it's undeniable, okay? For example, Mike Tyson is coming around a corner, or the current heavyweight champion of the world, whatever, and someone jumps out from around the corner and says, "Boo." For an instant, he's surprised, he's frightened. Now, millionth of a second later, he's saying in his head, "I'm the heavyweight champion of the world," and very little frightens me. But in that one instance, he feels what he feels. This I'm calling the first self, okay? The second self develops over time. It is the behavior, the ideas, the mannerisms that we are taught in order to get along and move ahead in our society, in our system. Much of MGTOW is talking about, going our own way from that system. I hate to tell you this, but in my opinion, and just one man's opinion, right? This is almost impossible to escape. This is like a fish saying, I am indifferent to the conditions of the water. This is like a person saying, I am indifferent to the quality of the air that I breathe. No, the culture, the society, the people around you, your family, your friends, your teachers, your police officers, the people you interact with in the supermarket, in the bank, doing whatever you do, you come to learn the proper way to behave. You grow up. And this I would call, this second person, the second part of the personality. And the third part, it's a very interesting part. It's the part that we think we are. Our conscious thoughts as to why we're doing what we're doing, okay? And I believe this is where, some serious conflicts start taking place. In the instance of feeling an emotion, we feel that emotion, whether it be fear, joy, pride, anger, frustration, depression, a need for comfort. These are natural human emotions. We're not getting away from them. And sometimes the environment that we're in forces, or appears to force, forces negative emotions. You're not getting enough food. You don't have a room to sit down in and record some audio, right? For me, that's horrible. This is why I'm so happy right now. Thank you, MGTOW. I do this and I lose my train of thought. Bad idea. So, to the degree that we conform with what we think we should be, remember, there's the authentic self, it's the emotion, it's the feeling, it is what it is. It cannot be escaped. There is the indoctrinated self, the way that we know we need to behave. We have been traumatized when we have stepped out of line too far. We're not independent of the conditioning and the things that happen to us in life. So if, you step off the curb and something bad happens to you, your body is going to hold on to that memory of stepping off the curb and, how dangerous it is. This emotion, this feeling becomes imprinted into the body, into the authentic self. It can't, I don't see how it could be helped, right? How could you not be affected by your environment? And if you think that, becoming very stoic and meditative and just blocking it all out is not being responsive to the environment, but it is, because that entire action of trying to negate it, it was in response to the environment. So there's no escaping it. When we fail to conform to the expectations of the group, to what we've been indoctrinated with, this is, we could bring up the subject, why are men attracted to beautiful women? And could you, would you, should you cut that out? I would say better that you understand where it's coming from. So we then, in this third self, perform this evaluation judgment of how well we have performed from our first self, the true emotions that can't be avoided, the indoctrinated behavior, and now there's this third self that's making this judgment. How well did I get this right? Okay? And then based on the emotional responses to the environment, this is determining the efficacy of this third self that's judging all of this. Possibly what we could consider the rational side, since this other part is actually two aspects of our emotional nature. And then there's the third, evaluating part that's looking at it and saying, how am I doing? And of course, the results that we're getting from our environment, are giving us this clear indication as to how we're doing. And then we're, deciding if we're happy, if we're moving towards what we want, or if we're unhappy and we're, moving away from what we want. Some of us are not really aware of this third self very much. We're very much stuck in this emotional, area and in this conditioned area. And it's so dominant, it's so strong that I can meet someone, perhaps a new roommate, and within moments, they're telling me their victim story. I can pass someone on the street who asks me for a cigarette, And the next thing out of their mouth is the story of how their brother-in-law stole their truck 20 years ago. That's what made them late to work. That's why their wife left them. That's why they're on the street. And that's why 20 years later, they're sitting, in the gutter asking for a cigarette, right? It's tragic. There, but for the grace of God, go I. I think I've actually been there. So, don't be too harsh. Don't be too judgmental. But the person's stuck, right? And what I'm suggesting is that these three parts are not in alignment. The feedback that the second self is giving to the third self, and I'm not going to summarize the parts again for you. Sorry. Everything is in context, people, all right? Whatever's being said, whatever's being discussed, if anybody ever tries to step out of the context of that conversation, they're trying to trick you, okay? So you've got the context. What we want to do is be true and rediscover that authentic true self, the part of us that feels fear if you come around a corner and someone says boo, the part of you that when a beautiful woman looks at you and says, wow, I really like your shoes, you smile and you feel good. There's an aspect of MGTOW which says, no, this must all be rejected because, it's this validation through this, dependence on the woman and the social situation. But I don't see how it can be avoided. All right. But then there's that third self that's then looking at this and saying, how did I do? And then judging. And then this is determining, this kind of overall internal state of mind that the person holds themselves in, which can, be negative and judgmental and harsh upon themselves, or it could be positive and encouraging. Now, this is not just a matter of deciding, willing something into being. No, this is a matter of understanding, appreciating, and knowing your fundamental true goals. There's a way to do this, okay? I've come up with this way. Well, to be honest with you, I've been going on for a long time now. And before I go into the practice of bringing these separate parts of, I believe, everybody's personality, you could say, bodies, soul and spirit. You could say that this trifold nature that we're working with. I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I'll do that in another video because it's a little more elaborate than just a simple conversation. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think about this, please. I want your feedback because I want to know maybe what to talk about moving forward. Okay, you've met people that are stuck, that are reliving, tragedies, that have a mind full of excuses and have created an entire victim narrative for themselves. And they're not happy and they're not healthy and it's not moving in a good direction. You've met these people. You know these people. To a degree, we are these people. What do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your comments? How should we talk about this? Let me know in the comments section. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, especially donate. If you understood where I was and what I'm going through, I think, I think you would do what you can, and I appreciate it. And join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan and hope to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.